So going through college, your senior year, you got the opportunity to tour with La Russell, right?
Yep.
So how did the opportunity come about right there?
Instagram. I
Instagram.
just um it was actually my first breakup.
Yeah.
College.
Oh, okay.
First time I ever got a girlfriend. Had finally secured the Riz. You know, I think it was my junior year, and we were together, and then I was like, bruh, like, I'm already busy enough as it is.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to get into a relationship
Yeah,
in
yeah.
college? And so I was like, hey, I have a recital coming up. I have to actually focus and practice because, like, I haven't been practicing the whole
Yeah.
year. But we had to, that happened, and I was like, man, I low-key want her back, but I also, realizing that I got to grind.
Yeah.
So I had to sacrifice one, and that was my first time actually sacrificing something like that. And I was just like scrolling on TikTok one day, and then I saw La Russell rapping outside of Boss Market.
Okay.
I think it was a song called Boss Market Blues. And he was like, Boss Market Blues, hooping with holes in my shoes. And I was like, hey, that's the first time I've ever like heard a rap song and not just listen to the beat.
Right.
Because growing up, like I would listen to crazy music, dubstep music too, just because it was like beats that made my mind, And so that was the first time a lyric had really caught my attention, not for just being catchy, but because I actually identified with it.
You related to it, yeah.
Like I'd have holes in my shoes hooping sometimes, and people would be like, man, why didn't you have the latest this, that? And I'm like, bro, I'm not a materialistic person.
Yeah.
So I saw
you
that.
Didn't care about it, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that, and I really identified with the simplicity of it. And I made a cover to it and posted it. And that was one of the first times I had posted on Instagram.
And this was like a violin cover?
Yep.
Okay.
A violin cover, because a friend had told me, like, up until then I'd been doing like some cinematic clips, like riding through the campus, getting some B-roll and playing along to it, like a cover or something.
Right.
But that was the first time like I was showing myself, showing my face.
Got you.
And recorded that, and he DM'd me, and he was like, hey, where are you located? And I was like, Oklahoma. He's like, you want to come out here and do a show? And he's like, here's the shows that are coming up. And I was like, yeah. And
yeah.
we to San Francisco, and Oklahoma was the furthest away from home and first time away from home that I had been.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had like never even moved growing up.
Right.
And so he was basically like, I kind of went half on it, like half. He covered the flight and I covered like lodging, but he said, I got you once the show's over.
Yeah.
And so I made that, risk, went out there, and then it's like we had a rehearsal. I pulled up and I was like, man, this is just a dude's backyard.
Yeah.
Like, and we start like playing the beat. It was just me and the DJ. And the DJ would play a beat, and I would just start improvising, just playing something random. Because I was asking him, like, do you have a set list? Do you have this?
Right.
So I would just start playing, and then he would just have the DJ cut out the beat. And then he would just start rapping, just so, like, me just playing the violin. And then it, like, immediately, like, started to lock in, flowing in. Like, every single song we were playing was just, like, working perfectly. And I was like, whoa. Like, I've never been involved in something like this.
Yeah.
Then we had the show, and it's like he let me open the show too.
Wow,
like
really?
The first time, because I had shown him some music that night in the studio, and he was like, yeah, open the show. And so I opened the show, and ever since then, like, he had me on everything.
Wow.
Basically.
That's crazy. Before then, like up until that point, had you done any like paid gigs or anything like that before then?
Not many, no.
Yeah. So that's kind of like your breakout.
I mean, we would do gigs as kids, like through the school and stuff. But that was my first like real
on your own type of thing.
Yeah, traveling, something like that.
Yeah.
But that would turn into my senior year, like. Every weekend I would be in like California doing shows or different places, and I would just fly and meet them there.
So what was going through your mind like whenever he did message you and was like, hey, you want to do this? Like, were you kind of like scared? Were you a little bit nervous? Like, am I ready for this? Or were you just like, oh, I'm so
when
ready for this?
When I got the DM,
yeah,
I was like, Whoa. Cause up until then, like, I honestly, I was a music ed major for 2 years and I think a semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just switched from music ed to performance because I'm like, okay, I want to teach, but I want to be able to teach on a larger, like, I don't want to be stuck to one school. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to move around. And I'm like, I think I can only do that if I'm like a director or a conductor,
Mm-hmm.
because with like, but that would have required a PhD.
I got you.
And so I was like, okay, let me scrap the education part. Let me just focus on music, getting better as a musician so I can apply to some of these grad schools
Mm-hmm.
and go. And I wanted to cross over styles, so I was looking at North Texas, University of North Texas, for alternative styles of strings. They had a program that was like perfect for what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that program wasn't as large as it was when I applied, to OU
Right.
originally. Like, I got into North Texas for, I think, music ed.
Mm-hmm.
Got into here music ed, and it was between those two. And basically, I got into there. I think I'm skipping a lot of steps. Hold on. Where are we at in the timeline? We're
Got into
still in
music ed.
college,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so I was just traveling a lot, and that happened because I had switched to music. Like, once I switched to music, it gave me more time to actually make music. And
be creative.
yeah. Cause like I had a lot more time where it was like, you need to be spending this time practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, my practicing is gonna be me recording over YouTube beats.
Yeah.
Because like that's how I like kind of trained my mind to like escape the classical box. And basically, I also told my teacher, like, I want to do more like crossover music,
Right.
different genres for my recitals.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, as long as you like practice and get to a certain point. But he also saw that I was traveling too, and so he was like, okay, that's what we want people to be doing. Like,
Yeah.
so we might as well let you do that.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. What was it like going out and traveling, being in LA on the weekends and then coming back to Oklahoma?
Crazy. It was crazy. It was honestly, it was crazy. But like, it didn't really register because it was like so fast.
Just so
paced,
happened,
like,
everything can go so fast.
Just be back in class, you know.
Right.
But as a senior too, it's like I was in classes that kind of made that possible. I was in a senior capstone class that was about like prepping us for the music industry.
Right.
And like I was getting advised by my teacher about doing the things while I was doing the things.
Wow, yeah.
And so it was like I was able to come back to my classes and share some of that knowledge with the other students too.
Right.
So it was great.
So what were some of the best moments on that tour, whenever you were on tour?
Just the energy and authenticity of the music.
Right.
Because it's like we weren't really doing things that were typical of people in the music industry. Like LaRussell being independent, that's not really something that happens usually. Usually people are tied to labels and you have to do the music a certain type of way. But it's like I was really able to get mentored by like an independent artist that actually ended up being an independent artist versus, I'm going to be independent, but then, here's the first deal. Boop, I'm gone. Like, he's really, like, sticking to it, too. And he's also bringing, like, the content stuff.
Right.
It's like what I was already doing, like, with content, it's like he basically shows how to monetize that. Yeah. And actually make it be realistic to be a musician and gig, but also make passive income by having, a support of social media.
Right. Yeah, I was talking about that in one of my future or earlier podcasts, just about like how social media following and stuff like that can just be so influential. And one of the best assets that you can have in nowadays time is a following, like definitely. The bigger following that you have, I mean, that can literally just provide you with residual income. And
even just connections, like that's how you connect to people. Like you can literally be able to reach the DM of like someone like LeBron James by him just following you. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But it's like possible.
Yeah.
Because you have it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whenever you were doing some of those shows, like how big were the crowds at some of those first shows that you had?
They started in the backyard. When they were in the backyard, it was like, okay, this isn't as big of an artist, but like the fact that he packed like 250 people in his backyard.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that came were like big celebrities in the Bay Area, but I was kind of oblivious to it because I'm from Houston. I didn't really I wouldn't know the artists. I would just hear the music,
right,
you know?
Right.
And so they were saying, "Oh, do you know who that was? This, that." And then and then I met Matt Barnes and I think Stephen Jackson. They did the All the Smoke podcast, and basically we played on that in his backyard.
Really?
And so I was like, okay, And then we did like a couple shows like Harlow, Sacramento. Like we would just sell out shows super easily, and I was like, okay, this is fire.
Yeah.
And then we did the Fonda in L.A. And like that was my first time being in L.A. And then we get out there and it's like a crowd of like I think 2,000.
Yeah.
But 2,000 for an independent artist, and I was like, okay, wow. And then we just started doing music festivals. I think over the summer, this summer was crazy because I had done something with my church. So my church gave me the opportunity to play in front of like 3,000 kids.
Okay.
In half of a hockey arena.
Okay.
But like literally I flew from there to San Jose and we did the Earthquakes game. Earthquakes soccer game.
Okay.
So there were like 50,000 people.
Wow.
And we did the halftime show with I think Too Short and Mr. Fab. It was like a Bay Area Legends 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
So there were 50,000. And then we did Soul Bloom. And so that's when I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like we're starting to do. Because I also kind of blew up at the same time that LaRussell was blowing up too. Okay. So it's like I was saying what he was doing that was working, and I just do the same thing. Yeah.